If you are over the age of 35, stop everything you're doing right now. After a lifetime of eating fatty foods, you may run the risks of a stroke or heart attack due to plaque buildup in your veins and arteries. To learn how you can reduce your risks, visit youthfountainlab.com or call 1-800-853-7856 today. This may be a life-changing call for you or someone you love. Thank you, and we hope to hear from you.
Benny Lansbury was a young, poor African-American kid who inadvertently got caught up in the mob when he came to the aid of a mafia captain under the attack by a group of assassins. Benny saved the man's life, and in return, he becomes the head of the mafia's drug operation. Buy The House of Lansbury in the description box.
All I can do is just make sure, like the city comes. The city comes and make sure them white lines is painted and you can see them. You feel what I'm saying? Those dotted lines is straight. You feel what I mean? So that's how my consideration and metaphor, if I kind of, give to my father's legacy. Paid. You feel what I'm saying? He did what he did in this music game. All I can do is make sure everything is crispy on the up and up.
Indeed. Now, you lost your father at a very young age, and to us, we lost a pioneer in rap as fans, but to you, you lost your father. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Young boy, a black man, young black boy at the time in South Central California. Can you just talk us through your mental at the time? You lost a fan, but you lost your dad.
Yeah, I appreciate that, brother. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't, I respect you for that all the way as a man, just a man to man, because a lot of people don't really get that part. You feel what I mean? You look at certain things, and even when people have their certain opinions or their certain disrespect that they feel is not, and boo, and kind of been that like little kind of like, criticism on, is that it's my father. You feel what I'm saying? Regardless of, I was still learning and understanding what he was to the world. You feel what I'm saying? To be real, we didn't really grasp a hold of that until he was gone. You feel what I'm saying? Because again, he was just daddy. You feel what I'm saying? So we just enjoyed having a father figure coming from the city that I come from, and just my ethnicity, period, point blank. It's not too many that stick around and strive through. If it's not, just leaving, home, if it's not dealing with a tough situation, it's the negative that I grew up with, which is either, some in my city would be gang violence, jail, or just, just deceased, period. You know what I mean? So crazy as it can be, having a father that I have and everybody knowing as an icon, I kind of stayed in that same lane and boat as the normal kids that grew up in Compton, California, without my father. You know what I mean? Despite the ways he passed away, he's gone. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was 10 years old. April 7th is when we buried him. I turned 11, April 23rd. So we were just understanding how deeply impactful he was to the world, and really just, sorrowing because we lost our father.
Yeah, right. So speaking of that, at what point did you, realize that your father was an icon? Because you talked about, you kind of going to Disneyland and different theme parks, and you walking with your dad and seeing, people stopping them and wonder why people keep stopping your dad. So at what point did you, realize that, my dad was like an icon, a legend in the hip hop game? And what did that do to you when you found that out?
That was a good one. Yeah, that's one of the good stories. But yeah, when we were younger, we used to get a little just different little tunes to it that we kind of like figured out, like, you know what I'm saying? Like wow, you know what I mean? We trying to get on these rides, and it's a line just as long as a ride to, take pictures with daddy. And my thing is like, we went there to take a picture with Mickey. So when Mickey turned around and Mickey want to take a picture with your daddy, you figured out like, daddy's something else. Daddy's something special. You know what I'm saying? We here to see Mickey Mouse. This is Disneyland. This is his home. When he coming up, you know what I'm saying? Him and his characters, and they circling around my father, want to take a picture. Like, oh, okay, daddy, wow. You feel what I'm saying? So as a young age, we got those certain experiences where we dawned on like, wow, you know what I mean? And it's crazy because my kids go through that now, being on TV. And I think I was out with their little track friends, and my little daughter runs track. So, it's a blessing just to see her, see kind of like the revolving of it. But, you know what I mean? And I'm not as big as daddy was, but they'll be like, hey, well, why do they want to take pictures with your father? You know what I mean? Like, they just know Mr. Right, Mr. Eric. You feel what I'm saying? And these are little 10-year-old girls. You feel what I'm saying? So they don't do much. We ain't letting them listen to that type of music. But as a kid, we seen nicks and pics of that, and it was like, wow. You feel what I'm saying? Like, daddy got to be something. You feel what I'm saying? And in a sense, you feel what I'm saying? Pretty big. You know what I mean? So that was just a little bit as a kid, and me being the oldest. You feel what I'm saying? It really took. You know what I mean? When we seen the impact of, you know what I mean, just being at the hospital. You feel what I'm saying? Seeing the news, you feel what I mean? And then, his funeral, and then like the whole city shut down. And then as we got older, you just understand, you just got to get, more wiser to the visual things that he did. And, You feel what I mean? Back then it was just daddy and some good music, but you know, it was, you know, just kind of like a little, you know, ladder of learning that, you know what I mean? But again, like I said, after he passed away, it's really wouldn't dawned on it. And then it's just to take you back, give you guys this little small understanding is, you know, because I have children myself, so we all go through certain things, you know, like I might embarrass my daughters if I'm doing this and the other. So point in time, it wasn't too much embarrassment, it was hurt. You feel what I'm saying? So when I went through high school, I went through a school where majority of the school for 2 or 3 years didn't know who I was until I did a XXL article with Daz Dillinger. And when I did that about 16 years old, people were like, whoa, wonder why, like, you know, Eric, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, makes sense. You feel what I'm saying? Because you go through that process of when it's still hurt. It's still pain. You feel what I'm saying? So I was 11, you know what I mean? So when I transitioned a couple of years going to high school, it's like, I kind of want to don away from that for a minute. So it was tough. You feel what I mean? It was just real tough. And because he's on the forefront, you feel what I mean? So when it's like stories, Father's Day, anything like that, it just brings back pain. You feel what I'm saying at that time?
I'm glad you brought up the word pain, because as you're talking, I'm thinking about the question of, because we don't talk about this too often in our community, and our young Black boys, when they lose their father, and a lot of their pain is masked with anger. And a lot of us are angry and we don't identify with that, and we don't know why, but it's masked because of some hurt and it's pain. How did you identify with your pain growing up, and how even more difficult was it once people found out who you were and who your father was, even dealing with it times 10?
It was the streets of Compton, California, gangbanging, you know what I mean? So my story was, you know what I mean, being Eazy's son, and you ask yourself, like, well, E, you know, why did you have to come up in the streets and do all this, you know what I mean, ignorant stuff, or stuff that you say or per se, or things that we hear about? Like, I just was in the gym, and another little Compton rapper dad FaceTimed, and it was like, man, I remember we was just a knucklehead, man. Where he at? How you doing, man? I've been seeing him through and the other. So people understand that I wasn't, you know, and that was because of the fact of I took that pain into the streets. You know what I'm saying? So, and even like, it's like, because I promote, I go and I do positive speaks, and I don't like that. I don't like us brothers doing what we do, you know what I mean? So when I tell people we was brainwashed, you feel what I'm saying? A lot of my homies was brainwashed. And then my story is, it was the fact of I was rolling with individuals that dad grew up with my father, and these were my friends and buddies. And, you know, I just took my pain and transitioned into doing what we do in the streets. If it's going to go, you know what I mean, sock out some individuals we didn't like, or as soon as somebody run their mouth, and, you know what I mean, everybody like, oh, he got the short man complex. You feel what I'm saying? And it was like, it probably was that, but understand, it's like, just know my life. It was built with a lot of anger. You feel what I'm saying? It's a lot of pain. You feel what I mean? That I didn't know how to transition. So when I ask people, they say, hey, what do you think could have helped that back then? And just to be real, we all don't, you know what I'm saying, just kind of like really admit to it. But I got sisters, I got daughters, and you know what I'm saying? And I know the importance I am in their life. And just pure point blank, I got boys as well. So it's just a father, just importance, period. Having a parent important, period. And especially a parent who is a parent, who loves his kids and he's striving to do, it's maybe we needed therapy. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we needed therapy. You feel what I mean? Because we didn't know how to transition that. And then we dealt with it being so, you know, on a microscope to all of us, you feel what I mean? Because of who our daddy was, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's this. Then it's this whole AIDS thing. Then it's like, this, you know, you guys all whooped and the other. So it was all kind of little current events of things that were painful to us, that we probably needed somebody to sit here and talk to us, you know. And my story, I'm going to tell you, is I transitioned into gangbanging, you know what I mean? Which is just something that, you know what I mean, I scream for us to make a stop to. You feel what I'm saying? We just doing everybody else's job, getting rid of each other. You feel what I'm saying? It's like I tell them, I wasn't going to no Beverly Hills to go sock out no, you know, excuse me, you know what I mean? And I'm not, you know, I love everybody, you know what I'm saying? And you gonna understand that by my understanding of how I speak, or when you follow me and understand what I'm trying to push to everybody. So when I speak these stories, don't take it as like, oh, he said this and he feels this way. But I know I'm gonna keep it real. I wasn't going to Beverly Hills to sock out no white boys. You feel what I'm saying? I wasn't going to go over here to go sock out anything else. My main object and things was doing it to my own kind. You feel what I'm saying? That was the norm. That was the norm in Compton, California. You feel what I'm saying? It's just like a couple of boulevards away. Ain't no white boys. It's a lot of Mexicans. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of blacks. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, but we doing this to each other. And the strength of it we felt was doing it to was another nigga. You feel what I'm saying? And it's just like something that you scream to stop and not promote to these kids. You feel what I'm saying? And going against each other and killing each other. But it's something that my pain pushed me to go do. pushed me to sit here and be in the streets to do. So I look back on it, yeah, we needed therapy. You know, I look back on it, some of my sisters, a lot of y'all follow my sister, you know what I mean, EB, you feel what I'm saying? A lot of y'all follow my sister, you know what I'm saying, Ree, you feel what I'm saying? You see the turmoil that they still have being Eazy's kids to dislike each other and all of this and the other because we're still dealing with pain. They're still dealing with pain. You feel what I'm saying? And nobody sat there and talked to them about it. They just give them all these stories of, oh, your daddy was this way. Your daddy was this way. Then you have all these mothers who going to give their own stories because all of them felt they should have been with them and been married. You feel what I'm saying? And you come my stepmother, Tamika, she gets everything. And what you think every baby mama feels that way after what? Oh, well, you know what I mean? So it's a lot as us kids that we dealt with having a father who was in the limelight. You know what I mean?
If you're over the age of 35 and over the years you've eaten pizza, dairy foods, deli meats, or meats with fat, you are likely to have some degree of plaque buildup in your veins and arteries. This increases your risk of suffering a stroke or heart attack exponentially, and no one wants such a catastrophic event to occur. Introducing Plaque Out. Plaque Out is made of all natural ingredients proven to help dissolve clots in the blood, remove calcium deposits and plaque from the walls of veins and arteries, improve viscosity of the blood, improve elasticity of the veins and arteries, treat varicose veins, and prevent the reoccurrence of plaque buildup. For more information, visit Youth Fountain Laboratory at youthfountainlab.com or call 1-800-853-78